Hello, it's time for another report video. I've been developing a prelim system for freestyle dance battle events, and this is the start of year 3 of this project. Version 5 of the system was run at Furpoc Freestyle 2024, and major improvements to the system have been made. Some background info: I've been working on making a prelim system that is able to generate a ranked bracket using prelim results, is less subjective compared to showcase formats, is based on a dancer's battle skills, is less time consuming than a Swiss tournament, and is friendlier to dancers that are new to battling. The system I developed is based on the Massey method, a ranked system that takes into account which two dancers battled each other and what the judges' votes are. The way the system works is that dancers are given a number when they check in. Round 1 is a chain of battles where dancers battle in numerical order, and it goes something like this. Dancer A battles Dancer B to one song, where Dancer B starts the battle. After both dancers had their turn, the judges vote who they think won the battle. Dancer A moves off the floor, Dancer B takes Dancer A's spot, and Dancer C moves onto the floor. Now Dancer C starts a battle with Dancer B, the judges vote who they think won the battle, and this process repeats itself until the last dancer battles Dancer A to complete the loop. Results are calculated using a spreadsheet that automatically handles all the linear algebra. All the dancers' votes are added up to make a raw scores column. A tri-diagonal matrix with periodic boundary conditions is constructed where the diagonal entries are all 2 to represent everyone getting 2 battles. The off-diagonal entries are all -1 to represent everyone has battled each other in a chain of battles, and the rest of the matrix is all zeros. This is the battle matrix that accounts for which dancers battled each other. One of the rows in the battle matrix is all changed to 1, and the corresponding entry in the raw scores column is changed to 0 in order to make this a closed system. What that means is that if one dancer gains a vote, that means some other dancer lost a vote, and vice versa. We get the dancers' ratings by inverting the battle matrix and multiplying that to the raw scores column. The big idea about the system is that it accounts for who you battled against. The votes that you get affect your ratings, as well as your opponent's votes, and your opponent's votes. Let me show an example. In a chain of battles that involves 6 dancers, the scores that I receive in my own battle are weighted by 5/12, the scores that my 2 opponents receive in their other battles are weighted by 3/12, and the scores my opponents receive are weighted by 1/12. You can see that my own battles affect my rating the most, but so do all the other battles. In case you're curious, the score weights follow this equation, where big N is the number of dancers competing, little n is the degree of separation of battles, and little s is the respective scores of each battle. Basically, battles with bigger degree of separation from your own don't affect your rating as much. By the way, I've defined the math where positive score means there's votes to the left, and negative score is votes to the right. Now, there is a limit on how accurate this method can be when there's more dancers competing, but I was able to show using Monte Carlo methods how accuracy can be improved, increasing the scale judges are using for voting, increasing the number of judges, increasing the number of battles each dancer gets, and have the dancers battle in order of skill level. Version 5.0 of the system was used for Furpoc Freestyle tryouts, which introduced a lot of these ideas. At the beginning of the event, dancers were asked to self-categorize themselves based on 3 levels: novice, experienced, and seasoned. All the seasoned dancers were assigned numbers at check-in first, then half the experienced dancers, then all the novice dancers, then the other half of the experienced dancers. Numbers were partially shuffled before the event so that they would be given out in a rough ascending order while also being somewhat random. This was done to prevent dancers from gaming the system by choosing who their opponents are in the first round. Round 1 was conducted where the dancers battled in numerical order. Splitting the dancers up into 3 experience groups means that the dancers were battling against each other roughly at the same skill level. I call this fuzzy chess ordering because perfect chess ordering isn't possible in the current system. Judges use the threefold system for voting instead of the 5-point voting system that was used in the past. The threefold system is a simplified version of the judging system that was used in the Olympics this year. Voting is based on 3 qualities: physical, artistic, and interpretive. Judges were able to use the threefold system using Android devices, and there are 5 judges. Dancers' scores were based on Olympic averages, where the highest and lowest judges' votes were truncated and the rest were averaged. The threefold system expands the voting scale, and using Olympic averages removes any sort of outlier bias. Round 1 results are used to determine 24 dancers that would move on to round 2 for prelims. Round 2 consisted of dancers having a third battle instead of a chain of battles. Battle order is in descending rating order based on round 1 results. The third battle increases the accuracy of the results. Results for round 1 and round 2 are used to determine the dancers' ratings. Top 16 dancers plus 4 standby dancers are accepted into the finals. A dancer's rating determines their seeding. Bracket order is based on the sum of dancers' ratings in each section of the bracket. This prevents the judges from knowing dancers' seeding and avoids confirmation bias. So with all these new ideas at play, how did Furpoc Freestyle go? 31 dancers competed at tryouts. Check-in took about 15 minutes. Round 1 took 53 minutes over the course of 31 battles, which means it took 1.71 minutes per battle. Though I would like to note that I did give judges time to cast their votes since it's a new judging system, and I believe this is the reason why our rates weren't as high as they could have been. There was one dropout mid-battle, and the judges decided to treat that as a complete forfeit as a solution. There was an intermission to get round 1 results, and it took 22 minutes. Most of the time I was trying to troubleshoot a problem where values were not calculating when entered in. The second and third judges columns weren't calculating the scores, so the 6th and 7th judges columns were used instead. Yes, I was fully prepared to have 7 judges present at tryouts if the opportunity presented itself. Sometimes it's okay to be a little ambitious. Round 2 took 23 minutes over the course of 12 battles, which means it took 1.92 minutes per battle. Again, this is mostly giving judges time to think about their votes with the threefold system. Overall, the event ended on time without any issue. After the battles were over, I asked dancers what they thought about the fuzzy chess ordering for round 1, and a lot of dancers said that they liked it. One dancer even said that they liked how seasoned dancers went first, so that newer dancers could watch and learn from them. Another dancer commented about how the third battle in round 2 allowed them to give it their all, instead of trying to manage energy and stamina like with the chain of battles. Anyway, here's the top 16 results for prelims for both rounds 1 and 2, and I gotta say that extra third battle definitely improved the accuracy of bracket seeding. But there was one small error that I made when entering the judges' votes. When I was troubleshooting that issue during intermission, I ended up copying one of the judges' votes twice. So one of the judges' votes was doubly counted, while one of the other judges' votes was completely missing. This error only affected round 1 scores, and the judges' votes were properly accounted for in round 2. I caught the error after trials were over, and ultimately decided to leave the results as is, mostly because the round 1 results do determine the round 2 battles, and I put trust in the Olympic averages system. Here's what the top 16 roster looks like that was actually run compared to what should have been the top 16. All the dancers that were supposed to be in the top 16 were there, just with a few seeds being swapped. It turns out that my blunder barely made a difference, and it shows that having a second round of prelims will produce robust results, even if it's just 12 extra battles. Though, in case you're curious, if the judges' scores were correctly copied in round 1 and Olympic averaging was not being used, this is what the prelim results would look like. Yep. That's right. This is very close to the bracket that was actually run at Furpoc. There's only 2 swaps that actually happened. It's crazy how close this is to what was actually run. Also, I did take a look at what the results would have been had we used a 5-point judging system instead. I projected the judges' votes onto a 5-point scale and got these results. While there is a difference, it's kind of interesting to see how the lower half of the bracket basically remains the same for all these possible outcomes. However, I do think that using the threefold judging system produces more accurate results. So what did we learn from all this? The generated bracket worked out really great when using the 3 improvements to the system, even with the small error that occurred. Slightly shuffling the numbers prevents dancers from choosing their own opponents, and judges were not able to accurately guess who the top 4 seeds were, which means that we avoided confirmation bias. Looking ahead, I think the next step for this project is going to be a big one. Coding up a phone application that handles everything automatically, from entering all the dancers in at check-in, to recording all the judges' scores, to automatically calculating the ratings, and making results instantly available. I'm happy with the concepts behind the routine, and the improvements that have been made over the years. Now it's just a matter of making the process a lot more accessible to everyone while also making it reliable. I think it's time to start reaching out to devs to make it all possible, and I have a clear plan in mind. There are other ideas I'd love to test out, but they're all for battle events that get a lot more competitors, and that's a story for a different day. I'd like to thank everyone that has contributed to this project. There's been a lot of progress over the last few years. Hopefully we'll see a wider adoption of this system in the near future, so we'll see what happens. Anyway y'all, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at MFF.